Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney 2. Let's carry on where we left off. It's about time we went ahead and paid a visit to our longtime friend, Lord Strongheart. It's been a hot minute since we last saw the geezer, and, well, it's about time we reunited, considering local events that have taken place, particularly with poor Lord Van Ziek's being under attack. Looks like he's got some sort of protege with him, too, if we review the court record and look at the news article in question. This mysterious crowman over here. Plus, we got a news article on the first test of matter transport device. We saw that didn't go so well. In fact, it almost blew up half of London. Thankfully, we've been spared. For now, though, the Lord Chief Justice's office is waiting for us. So let's go with Iris. She's tagging along with us since Susato's not around. Been a long time since I've been in this office. 22nd of October. British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Even the title card takes a while for it to come into play. It's been about 6 months now since I was last here. But some things never change. Like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. Iris, we can't do that here in Lord Strongheart's bloody office. Doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there. You know they polish the floor every half an hour, right?
Oh, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here.
You've come here often? Of course, I was forgetting that you've been here before. The time we came here 6 months ago. When Susato-san was given the news that she was to return to Japan. Well, I'd love to have news that she's coming back here to England. I understand you wish to speak with me. I've completely forgotten the voice I've given him, so we're starting from scratch. Oh, Lord Strongheart, I trust you've been keeping well? Let's see. Since you arrived and requested an audience, it's been 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while, my apologies. Oh, no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space. This is my favorite pastime. You know, I do it quite often in the courtroom once I'm presented with some horrible evidence. Good to know. Good to know that doesn't appear to bother him at all. Male Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. Of course, it was a trial by fire. He tossed us into the McGilded case immediately after we arrived, basically. Need only savor the air for a moment in this grand office to understand his preeminent status. As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime. And furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Symposium. Oh, I've not heard about that. Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it. Well, good to know we're on the same page there, you know. Could have come in handy in the previous trial, although, I mean, admittedly it did, it just couldn't be admitted into evidence. As we're the hosting nation, I have much to do. And it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attention as a result, so be it. Well, it's nice to know where I stand. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, not on your priority list. So, you wish to consult with me. Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as a defense lawyer again in court. Is that too unreasonable to ask? That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind as it happens.
Reno, just take a deep breath and come out with it.
It's not easy in this man's presence, believe me. First off, can I present my armband? This is what I want to be again. By the way, Lord Strongheart, about this... the symbol of a defense lawyer in the Japanese judiciary. Oh, I didn't expect you'd know that. We never accept foreign students before first researching the legal systems of their home countries. Too bad. We never adopted the jury system for another 100 years, and then we only did it once. But such trinkets are merely for show. The only true measure of your worth is your performance in court. Yes, right. Well, I haven't lost a case. I may have done some, underhanded tactics once, but at the end of the day, justice was served, I think. Permission to work. I actually came here today to ask for your permission. Go on. 6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked, and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is, wait, are you looking at your time? Are you looking at your watch right now while I'm pleading my heart out? It made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system. And I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom again. That took 29 minutes to time. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Here it comes. I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role. Ouch! And he's saying that at best. What do you mean? What about at worst? At worst, you're a rat of a ship. That's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on this study tour, not me. It should have been Kazuma. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. That was his calling. Oh, wow. Bringing back his theme. Such a good theme, too. If that tragic accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here in this office now. Alas, he had mentor syndrome. Mr. Osogi was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I have to fulfill his calling for him. His calling, you say? Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling? Sorry? The mission with which that young law student was charged. What do you suppose it really was? What do you mean? Mission? He's not making any sense. Please enlighten me? Is this to do with that final transmission we got at the end of the last game? Never mind. I've read all the reports you've submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions. Do you mean... As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain. Thank God I've got a job again. I can pay Sholmes his 6 months' rent. At long last. Thank you! Thank you so much!
That's wonderful news, Runo. Now we can go to the exhibit now?
In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You'll consider it, I hope. Of course, please tell me more. A curious affair. You described it as a curious affair? Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday? Oh, no.
Yes, I read about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment. Let me see. How was it described? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think.
Instantaneous kinesis? As in moving things with a click of the fingers? Damn, Ryunosuke, he's been studying English. What a lad. Goodness me. I'm surprised he understood.
That's right. It's just what my herbal blends need. A dash of devil-may-care.
Whatever the serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris's imagination. It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. Odie Asman, an investor and a well-known figure in society. A large explosion?
A man died?
It's unfortunate. The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Hairbrain. Never change Ace Attorney names. He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow. Hey, you want me to defend this man? On the charge of murder. Whoa, that's a tall charge. What? Murder? If you intend to take on his defense, you should hurry to meet with him at the prison. There is very little time left for you to carry out any kind of investigation. Damn it, you're throwing me in the deep end again, Strongheart. The Great Exhibition. A scientific experiment gone wrong. And murder? Feel out of my depth before I've even started. Still, at least we got a reason to go to the exhibition.
We should go to the prison straight away then, and try to meet with this German professor. Don't you think?
Definitely. I love that a lot of foreigners in this land are tried for murder. Saseki, now our good friend Hairbrain. Yes, one more thing about the case. There's a connection with our mutual acquaintance, the Reaper. Oh? With Lord Van Ziek's? How? Next up, Forensic Science Symposium. All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them all will take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium. It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it? Exactly.
Ah!
London, the global epicenter of culture, science and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate. So it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible. Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it? It's my understanding that forensic science isn't exactly hasty. Exactly, the future of policing.
Ah!
Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods. Oh dear, that is alarming. Exactly, it's extremely alarming.
Ah!
If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you can be sure the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. And I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim. Sorry? By way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail everyone now. What?
Oh, how fascinating.
No, I need to go to the prison. I'm running out of time here. It all began 15 years ago. I was blah 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 blah. And then I pulled a rabbit out of a hat. And that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter. In the simplest of terms, of course. But of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard. Don't tell me you're about to summarize it. That is my mission. Oh, yeah. Oh, right, yes. That's wonderful. It made me actually yawn. Exactly. Wonderful is precisely what it will be. Oh, well, she went back to reading her bloody book. Iris isn't paying attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, was it over? Did you learn anything useful?
I actually drifted off for the most part. Surprisingly ardent about forensic science.
Well.
Well, I mean, I guess we're off to prison now. I thought we'd be talking about Lord Van Ziek's, but I suppose not. If you let your concentration slip, you might miss what people say. Too late for that. Let's go. Professor Hairbrain. Oh no. 22nd October, local prison, cell 11. The warden said cell 11. That's this one.
Hey, there's someone curled up in a ball in the back corner, look.
This is not a zoo. You have to point him out. Like,
There's someone there, look, Bruno, look at the back of the cell 11.
what's his name again? Professor Albert Hairbrain, wasn't it? Excuse me. Professor Hairbrain?
Huh.
I can't do a German accent to save my life. Who are you? I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a defense lawyer. A lawyer? Was it something I said? A lawyer, you say? Would you be here? About the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis? Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't... Yesterday's demonstration! That magnificent demonstration was... It was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculations! But despite that... no one listens! No lawyer believes in the science! When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity! Really? I guess that's why I'm assigned to this case. Now's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while, too. Goodness. Well, I'm going to present my armband. I should really start doing this. Ah, fascinating, yes! In Japan, where I come from, it's the symbol of a defense lawyer. Wearing it is very bracing, I find. Your words make some sense to me, but they are entirely illogical. What do you mean? Well, for example, I find this white laboratory coat I wear for my work very bracing too. However, in my case, there is a perfectly logical reason for that feeling. Oh, really? What is it? I purchased the wrong size by mistake. This one is too small for me. And the sleeves, especially, are extremely bracing. I can barely move my wrists. That's what you call logical, is it? Well, it's a fair deduction. Of course, it's entirely logical. That's science, Mr. Naruhodo. Science, goddammit. Sorry, pal. I checked out of science as soon as I could in high school. Yesterday's demonstration. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday.
The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in the explosion, didn't he?
Ah! Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense, the experiment was a failure. But at the same time, it was a great success. You gotta fail to succeed, right? You've lost me. I saw it with my own eyes, right there in front of me. Mr. Asmund was spontaneously disassembled. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However, the machine exploded and Mr. Asmund, in fact, perished. Mr. Asmund became Mr. Has-Been, basically. Yes, I can't deny that part of the experiment was a failure. So what you're really saying is, the large explosion that killed Mr. Has-Been was an accident, correct? I mean, Mr. Asmund.
But the bigwigs had you arrested on suspicion of murder.
This guy's movements are so frantic. I was responsible for a man's death. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished. At once! But... Murder? Never in a million years. It was an accident. Simply an accident. I see. Yeah, I'm surprised it's a murder charge. I mean, could be negligence, but that doesn't constitute murder.
Helly and I were talking this morning, you know. He said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or murder.
How exactly?
Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody.
On what grounds? Ah, yes, it's newly established here in Britain. The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. That one passed me by.
But if the case is treated as murder...
Then they'll say my machine was the murder weapon, and they'll be able to pour it over it as much as they like. Oh, you think it's an excuse for them to potentially reverse engineer your technology, huh? If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then
They'll be able to copy my idea, and my precious hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it's imperative this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial.
Ah, I see now. I see. Okay, so it's political. The reason why it's been declared murder. Instantaneous kinesis. So in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday. Yes! Or, no, the devil is in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion. Sounds the same to me.
You were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating.
Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible, using a sufficiently high voltage, to break those bonds and beam the particles through space. That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see? That's my amazing hypothesis. Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science. Oh, but dare to imagine it. Dare to dream of such incredible technology. Just think, one moment I could be here in the cell, and the next, I could be at the Great Exhibition again. Well, yes, that would be incredible. And the next, in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at the Great Parisian Theatre, I say. Oh, the possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet could be within reach. So no more hiding in wardrobes and rocky seas for 50 days. Lovely.
I don't really see it like that.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk.
My word, that's exactly right.
What are the implications?
What does this mean? Has science gone too far? Should we stop asking the question, can we, and start asking, should we? Something of the sort like that.
Oops, that's got Professor Bunnybrain really worried by the look of it.
Clearly this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose. Exactly. The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works. It just works, okay? Like Fallout 76. But without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment. The monkey in the wrench.
Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have.
That's exactly it, yes.
Haley's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science.
Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Asman. The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? He was a wealthy guy. Maybe he had a target on his back. The victim. The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odie Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man? He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thanked my lucky stars. I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then.
Money for scientific research. I'm so envious.
As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel. An angel investor. Oh, really? An archangel, even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Asman provided me with money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications. I wonder why he volunteered then. If he's such a wealthy man, he must have had a lot of confidence in your machine.
But then your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion.
As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Asman. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life. Yeah, it's gonna cut off your funding, right? Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. Good to know. Well, have we got anywhere else to go? I suppose, we still got business both here and back at, Strongheart's office. Suppose, let's go back. Sorry to cut our meeting short. I'll come back here too. I suppose I need to present the newspaper article, huh? It's the only other thing I can do. Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this? The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition, of course. No, not that. The story on the back page. What story? The Reaper attacked. Ah, that. Right. So that text there is the same as what it is when we examine it. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not? Yeah, it doesn't mean I care about him bloody getting attacked, right? I'm a human being.
Poor Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he?
There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zieks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you. Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know. Very well. If it interests you. It does, more than whatever you bloody talked about before. It does, strangely. There we go. I knew there was a conversation left unfinished there. Van Zieks' condition. Fortunately, Lord Van Zieks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter. But that's incredible. They were armed with guns. Why was he attacked, though? Do we know? It's related to events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zieks. But the man was acquitted. I've no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes. Large sums of money? A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday. Of course, he got himself tangled with the Reaper. But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely? The victim's henchmen certainly seemed to think so. It was a man by the name of Asman. Mr. Odie Asman. Really now? Okay, the plot thickens. Did you just say Asman?
That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition.
Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization. Unbelievable. I wonder, could I ask you something, Lord Strongheart? Try me. Why do you use Lord Van Zieks as a prosecutor? All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom. And fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Van Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still, isn't this a little too Final Destination for you? Something's clearly going on here. I have Van Zieks work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. And secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials are nothing to do with him. But that doesn't make sense. How can you explain the ways so many have died, if not by someone's hand? Van Zieks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer. So he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the Crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course. Why is he so cursed, man? Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. Well, thank you for waiting for me. I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues may be starting to fidget. Yes, if they're not fast asleep right now. 11 hours late? That's quite something. That meeting had already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. Oh shit, I took 11 hours. I took 11 hours to go to the prison and then come back here to talk to him. My bad. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man. I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. That didn't help either. Oh yes, where would I find Lord Van Zieks now? I would assume he's at his office. Right. I'll go and ask him about the attack in person. I want to get this straight from the horse's mouth. Jeez, calling him a horse now. Away with you now. I'm leaving Professor Hairbrain's defense entirely in your hands. Of course, yes. Thank you very much, my lord. Sorry, Professor Harebrain, if I can pay a visit to Van Ziek's, you're gonna have to wait even longer for my return. Prosecutor's office. Haven't been to this place yet. No, I have not. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Oh, sick. Damn, look at that portrait. 22nd October, Prosecutor's office. All those goblets. And all those drinks.
Oh, so this is the legendary Reaper's office.
Yes, it appears so.
Ooh, it sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? What an amazingly deathly atmosphere.
Oh, is that? The hooded figure was so still I hadn't noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is. What are you doing here? Ah! There he is! Oh god, this... I love his theme so much. He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well. Heart beating, breathing. I am. Good talk. Good talk. Who's the person over by the wall being punished for something or other? No punishment is taking place here. Oh. This isn't a BDSM room. That's my apprentice, and he's sitting there of his own free will. I didn't know you had an apprentice. I'm allowed one too, especially because of your bloody Susato who is carrying you through these trials in her blue book. Must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper. He's very able in combat. A requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage. Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers? The Reaper? I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself. Assuming, that is, such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms. Oh, well. I suppose, I shouldn't treat you unequally. Here's my armband. I know you've seen this around my arm before, but what is it exactly? It's the mark of a defense lawyer. In Japan, at least. And what's your reason for showing it to a British prosecutor? Oh. Well, I don't know, really. I can understand, at least. There's merit in reminding yourself of who helped you become what you are today. Oh. But that's a personal matter. Something you may want to keep close at all times, not something to flaunt. No, I suppose not. Thank you for understanding, though. Oh, he grabbed his own badge. I wonder what that's all about. Oh. Inspirational roots for presenting the armband to Lord Van Ziek's in episode 3. Lovely. The newspaper article. Talking about you. Lord Van Ziek's about the article in this paper. Ah, yes. It seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. Yeah, damn, he's a good photographer, I'll give him that. That's a pretty nasty shot. Nasty in a good sense. I had no idea I'd been photographed. It was careless of me.
It looks as though it was taken after the people who attacked you had run away there.
Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them. But there's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. Your little bodyguard. And I think it's the same man who's sitting over there as we speak, isn't it? As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about him. Okay, I was going to say perhaps not. Last night's attack. Lord Strongheart said that the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack? True. Carried out by henchmen of Odie Asmon's criminal organization. The investigation meant their arrests were imminent. Presumably, some hoped to kill me before that happened. Odie Asmon. He's always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers, a global investor. I suppose he's someone along the lines of McGilded, huh? But his enormous wealth came to him by underhand means, via his criminal activities. Let's check out Mr. Asman here. There he is. Odie Asman, the man who perished in an explosion on the experimentation stage. He was Professor Harebrain's financial backer and the boss of a large criminal organization.
And he used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he?
I wonder if he wanted this instantaneous kinetic transfer to, like, I don't know, rob a vault or something? Like, rob the bank?
Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper.
But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances. It was a most unusual cause of death. I know about that. It was super high voltage instantaneous kinesis gone wrong. Mr. Asman died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended in an enormous explosion. Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you? No. That does seem a little far-fetched. If this man really is the fabled Reaper, then he has to be innocent of this particular death at least.
It's strange how this has worked out, isn't it, Rene? I mean, what with you taking on the Professor's defense for the trial tomorrow?
What? You're going to be defending him? Oh, yes, that's right. Oh, I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest. Albert. Albert Harebrain. That's right. Do you know him by chance? Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university together. Your...
What?
Your contemporary? What the hell is that all about? I'd understood that Professor Harebrain was from Germany, though. Harebrain's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research, that's all. Oh, lucky I didn't give him a German accent then. He's not even from Germany. He just moved there. So you were students together. I was in the faculty of law, of course, and he in science, so our paths rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along, though I've not met him since my university days. I certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form. And with you, of all people, representing him. Ugh. What a day to ask if I could practice law again. Only if I make it out of this office alive. He's actually been charged with murder, it seems. Yes, I know. Because the prosecution will be handled by me. By you? There's a conflict of interest here, I'm sure. But you made it sound as if you and the professor had been friends. We are friends, it's true. Then why would you do this?
If the Reaper's the prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed.
Yeah, you've doomed him to either a guilty verdict or certain death, it seems. Well, a moment of silence for him then. What's Lord Van Ziek's thinking? The Reaper's identity. What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean? I'm a crown prosecutor and a mortal like any other. I'm no demigod.
But they've all died, haven't they? The people you've prosecuted, I mean. Whether or not the trial ended in a conviction or an acquittal.
Hey, Saseki Natsume's still alive. Though, I guess we all die one day. Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society. People who, without question, deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them. But that's not true of Mr. Natsume, for example. He wasn't a vile wretch at all.
Nor was Ginny. In fact, she's ever so hard-working now.
Where is Ginny? I haven't seen that girl in so long either. I can't deny that since I encountered you, things have taken a turn. But the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. It was not my work. That's true. McGilded was killed for revenge. And, well, Mr. Asbin here obviously is guilty of something else, too. Lord Strongheart said the same. He believes you're not involved in any way.
But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believe it's true.
The fact is, since people started to call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially. Oh. It would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives. Damn. Wouldn't be surprised if you masquerade as Batman in the coming years to come. The coming years to come. Good job. Do you mean to say... I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly, and with honor. But it's putting you in danger. You could be killed. If that is my fate, let God decide. Lord Van Zieks. Jeez. Okay, well, your apprentice, this question has been pressing at me. He's in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose.
Ah, like you are to Hurley then, Rune.
I don't remember taking an apprenticeship with the great detective. I'm a defense attorney. I don't want to become a detective. He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack. It looks like he's wearing some kind of mask. On Lord Strongheart's orders. Nobody knows the man's face, or indeed his identity. But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual? Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one for meaningless follies. There will be a good reason for his actions. I hope you're right. Oh, he's here. Who the heck are you? Someone we know? Huh. The task is complete. Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs. Nice to meet you. Gonna say something? Nope. Someone we recognize. There's bats in this office. Back to work again? That was really strange, though. I've never met the man before. I didn't even know he existed, and yet... somehow it didn't feel like our first encounter. Who is it? Who's underneath the mask? People? Are they revealed right yet? Probably not. Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Lord Strongheart has strictly forbidden it. Oh, I see. Is it because he doesn't know English or something? Why are you so interested in my apprentice anyway? Oh, no, I mean... sorry, I didn't mean to. He's just, you know, mysterious. The way he stood there so casually, yet with that flawless posture. It couldn't be. It couldn't be. It couldn't be Kazuma, could it? Is that what you're trying to say there, Ryunosuke? I mean, I did take a look at his jawline, but I can't really discern anything from that. I feel like everyone's got the same jawline. Ah, yes, there's been something I've been meaning to ask you. There's something I've been meaning to ask you too. Why do you hate me so much? Oh? What's that? Why do you hate Nipponese so much? That Nipponese man. Is he faring well? Sorry? The one arrested twice in succession 6 months ago. With the stoop, and the moustache, and the jitters. Ah, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
I'm not sure he'd be very pleased to find out you identified him from that list, Rune.
He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day. I see. I guess if you flee the country, you're safe from your curse. Well, I think we can end our discussion there, don't you? There's little time left before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it investigating the case. Yes, thank you for the advice. And for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Soseki-san. After a Nipponese. I'm not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried. My assassins have yet to arrive on Japan's shores, it seems.
I never imagined that Mr. Reaper would be friends with a mad scientist, did you? That's a turn up for the books.
A mad scientist? Oh, you mean Professor Hairbrain? Yes, it might be worth quizzing the professor about his relationship with Lord Van Zieks, I think. Looks like we had to come here first after all. Alright, well, I'm going to examine your office. There's too many nuggets of information here to ignore. Look at that fine collection of hallowed chalices and bottles neatly lined up there. My hallowed bottles are filled with the essence of the finest grapes from the finest vineyards I visit. And I personally oversee these chalices being made by the finest crystal craftsmen in the world. You watch them make it, and then you just toss them so unceremoniously during the trial.
And yet you throw them around in court like they were worthless.
Exactly. Yes, because this imbecile is so unimaginably and repeatedly wide of the mark sometimes. Oh, it's my fault, is it? Oh. Before you open your mouth next time, you should consider the poor artisans whose work you defile. So, it's my fault? Silly me, how could I have thought otherwise? I guess I'm keeping them employed at the very least. Gramophone, swords, his disc. Lord Van Ziek's desk, look. It's so stylish.
And that's a marble chess set beside it.
Chess. Wouldn't be a prosecutor's office without a chessboard. That's the Western version of our Japanese shogi game, isn't it? You know, I'm actually quite good at shogi problems.
Oh, really? You'd probably like chess problems in that case.
I'd love to challenge Lord Van Ziek sometime. I enjoy chess problems. But playing chess, God, it's hard, man. I ain't good at it whatsoever. I always make the same mistakes. To a bout of shogi problems.
If you only really want to challenge yourself, you can always do that on your own at home.
True. Okay, bright red book on his desk, but nothing to properly examine there. What do we have here?
Oh, look! It's a scale model of the Great Exhibition's showground.
That's amazing. I wonder why it's here.
Perhaps he made it to take his mind off the sadness of being too busy to attend in person?
No, it's because he's prosecuting it. Or perhaps he's too embarrassed to queue up for a ticket. A lot of different flags there. Surely it's obvious that I'm using it as an investigative aid. Ah! You Nipponese have no business painting others as overly reserved. Ugh. I really didn't think you'd overhear that. Whoops, that's not the right button. M. We've got Britain, we got France, Germany, Italy. I swear I saw, like, Belgium there. Is that Netherlands? I can't quite see. This painting, though. That portrait really dominates the room, doesn't it? Oof. It's a very majestic outfit and pose. But sadly, whoever painted it didn't do a very good job of capturing Lord Van Ziek's facial features. I think they did pretty good.
Yes, you're right. I mean, it's not far off, but the artist has exaggerated his subject's handsomeness, I think.
That reminds me. I heard Emperor Napoleon of France ordered artists to make him look more attractive when they painted him. Well, I mean, it resembles a portrait of Napoleon, no?
How vain. That's really not an attractive quality in a person, is it?
That portrait does not depict me. Surely that's immediately obvious. Oh, then who was it? My brother, Ziek Van. Oh. Guess there's some history behind that one. Alright. Well, we can continue to look around, but of course we can. It really looks like a punishment to me.
I've never seen someone sitting like that before.
He hasn't moved a muscle since we arrived. What? Pretty sure he came up to talk to Van Zieks. Do you think perhaps he's dead?
If he was dead, Reno, he wouldn't be sitting up, would he?
Well, anyway, dead or alive, he's not overly approachable, is he? I don't think he's going to talk to us.
He's not dead.
Suppose not. And these bats? Oh, God! Bloody hell! Wah! They were bats!
Yes, the Reaper's familiars, I expect.
Well, at least you're safe because you're so short. But what about the mute man in the dark cloak? I thought he was the familiar. Just not the flying kind.
Must be a dear friend of Mr. Reaper, then.
I think the familiar idea is more likely. It's scary, though, either way. Look at all those ancient casks lining the wall there.
Casks in the Reaper's chamber? Or are they caskets?
You don't think all those people who escaped conviction in court are lying inside them? It's dead, do you? What ridiculous notions are going through your head, man? This is my collection of fine vintages. Oh, yes, of course. Thank you for clearing that up. He's pissed off. He's like, get the fuck out of here. Stop being a tourist.
Rena and I were just musing to ourselves. Don't mind us, Mr. Reaper.
I wouldn't if you hadn't invited yourselves to my office to talk nonsense within my earshot. Well, go stand in the corner then, why don't you? Okay? While we peruse. Although I don't think there's anything left to peruse. Back to jail we go.